Primal Strength Doc coming at you with a little morning mobility. I've been dealing with a little bit of some tightness in my Achilles, so I figured let's focus on the foot and the ankle. So not only have I been feeling it here, also a little funky in the knee and the hip. So I'm gonna start at the foot, work my way up, gonna go over 3 different things that I'm gonna start with to address this. So one, my big toe mobility is not an issue on there, but I do want to look at my mechanics with push-off because I know I do kind of roll over it. So when I do get into a nice stretch of that big toe, my heel wants to fall out. If I pull that big toe in, my heel in, while I'm stretching that big toe, I actually feel it exactly in the same spot of my medial Achilles. So is it actually Achilles? Is it toe flexor tendon? That's where I'm gonna focus on the toe flexor to see if that will calm down. So I'm gonna look at a little midfoot mobility, and also right now I'm just pinching these heels together while I'm sitting back on the toe. All right, if you can't get into this position, this is something where we can get into maybe up a little bit higher, and you can still work into it so your knees aren't on the ground, you're not bending as much, but don't let those heels fall out, all right? Make sure those heels are pinched together. So pinch those heels together. You can even do it standing. If you can't get into that much flexion, get something under that big toe and make sure the load stays through that medial line and that heel. So medial line being inside, all right? So get a good stretch there, push over that, go into a little bit of rocking, get some dynamic movement as you're doing it. All right, so focusing on big toe, but I am actually feeling it all right here. So if you struggle with some tightness coming through that inside Achilles, let's first look at the big toe. Let's also look at the mechanics of the foot. All right, so I'm gonna put the ball now under 4-5. And try to roll that big toe down, all right? Getting that midfoot rotation, all right? If we're lacking there, could that also be part of the reason I was feeling some stuff up into my hip and my knee? So working through a little bit of stuff, get on that ball, drive that big toe down, feel that stretch through the arch. You can actually roll out that inside arch there so you can go through longitudinal and across on both, all right? But then make sure you spend some time with that midfoot. You can even drive that knee in as you're doing it, all right? So drive that knee and that first toe down. Those are the 2 things I'd focus on to see, and already this foot feels so much nicer than the left. All right, the other thing I can work on is a little bit of tissue work. So if I want to get on the tissue here, I'm using a peanut so that Achilles goes right on the inside there, all right? And then I'm just gonna push some pressure and a little bit deeper, slower pressure to try to down-regulate that tissue if it's a little bit of a tone issue, since I have ramped up some of the running. So could it be the calves and a little bit of higher tone? Could it be tissue glide? So I might get pressure here and move the ankle while I have pressure on certain tissues. So you get an internal glide relative to this fixed pressure externally. And then if we want to take it a step further, I could go ahead and floss. All right, so I have my Rockfloss here. We can go ahead, get in on that lower tissue. So I am going to go ahead, anchor on the foot here. So just anchored on. Now, once I have it anchored on, I'm gonna do about 50% overlap, 50% tension. All right, so once I get around, I'm gonna try to stay low so I can cover all of the tissue that I was having that tightness on. All right, so I'm probably only putting about 30% stretch on this. You can go up to 50, it's a lot. If you haven't done it before, I'd stay a little lighter. You don't want your toes going numb. They might discolor a little bit, but that's just because we have some compression, but we're only keeping it on for about 2 minutes. So now that I have it on, I just tuck the end in All right, now I'm gonna go through that ankle motion. I can actually get into the same stretch I was just doing before. I can go through and rock, getting in ankle dorsiflexion, getting the toes with it though. All right, then I can get up into a little bit of a lunge in there. So get in and rock. All right, get in, walk on my toes, walk on my heels. Spend about 2 minutes getting functional with it. I could even get down and squat, all of those things. All right, so 2 minutes. And then let's go ahead and take it off. And I'll continue to work on it. So those are just 3 different options on how to mobilize, all right? Already, you get a nice little rush after you take that off. Feels more mobile. This is where I'm gonna wanna now reinforce the pattern. After I have this new mobility, it feels a little bit looser. Getting in and stretching it. Keeping that heel tucked. Don't let that heel fall out. Keep it tucked in. You're gonna feel a better stretch. You can even get in, do a little hip flexor while we're here. So this hip, opening in the hip, decompressing it, driving it down, while I'm also working on that big toe and the Achilles. So give those a shot. If you have any questions, shoot me a message. Let me know what you think.